Hey, what up guys, it's Caleb here, and in this video I want to talk about how to make more than $200,000 per year as a freelance graphic designer. So you may think that, hey Caleb, 200 grand is definitely a lot of money, and which I think is a lot of money, but if you think about that, being a freelancer, you're basically your own boss, so nobody pay you a paycheck, so you don't have a fixed income. And as long as you're more hardworking, as long as you want to find more clients, and you can totally make like 200 grand or even more than that. And I think in general in the US, freelance designer makes somewhere around like 50 grand to like 500 grand. So the range can be really big depending on like how hardworking you are. And if you make more than like 500 grand, right, I would say like you're gonna be like you must be really good, and you must be killing all the Drupal and like Behance scam. Like that's what I think. So totally, like I believe like top designers on Drupal, right, they get paid much more than 500 grand per year. But I would say like I'm somewhere in the middle, so around like 250. So in this video, I want to share like kind of what is my method to make to generate my revenue, and how many clients do I work with, and how much do they pay me. So that's what I will, and share some tips as well. So that's what I want to like talk about in this video. So in 2018 to 2019, I worked with 19 clients in this year. So some clients, they pay me somewhere around like $3,000 for a small project, maybe like even less than that, right? If it's like one pager, it's like $1,500 and stuff like that. So like I charge a range between like 100, maybe $1,000 to somewhere around like 40,000, right? So the range can be really big. So 40 grand may be a product design project for a platform with design and development, right? So those I'm gonna charge a little bit more because the value is more. So that's like the big picture, right? So 19 clients, some pay me somewhere around like 1,000, some pay me like up to like $40,000. 19 clients in 1 year, so that's where my 250K come from. So there are a few things that I can share with you guys, some of the methods that I use in my business right now to help me to generate more revenue. So I can share some tips with you guys. And the first one is when a low-paying clients reach out to you, if they lowball your price, don't take it. Instead, refer it to other people. So let's say if somebody come to you and say like, hey Caleb, can you help me design my website for $1,500? But usually my budget for this kind of thing is, let's say, $5,000. And when the client lowball me like that, right, then what I would do is I will have like some connection with me, some other designer connection with me, right? Then they may charge a lot lower than me because they're not from North America. They will be like maybe it's from, I don't know, like from Poland or somewhere else, right? So I'll be like, hey, yeah, I can totally refer you to my other designer's friend, and he's very great at what he does, and he maybe potentially can help you out. So I can take a cut from the deal, but myself, I don't have to like take this project. So maybe I would take like 10% or 20% cut from that. So $1,500 maybe still a lot of money from to my friends, right? To my designer friends, but not a lot of money to me. So I can take a cut from it. And usually what I found is, usually most of the time, low-paying clients, they have a lot of demands, and it's more demanding than high-paying clients, and at the same time, you're kind of stuck with them for a long while. So that's something that I would like to stay away from. So yeah, that's kind of like my first way to do things, is like when a low-paying clients reach out to me, I kind of like just refer them to other people and take a cut from the referral fee, and I can focus on the high-paying clients. So that kind of brings me to the second point, is like, how do you find high-paying clients, right? How do you find profitable and funded company? So I guess like the whole business objective is, you always want to work with like high potential clients, because when these clients be successful, right, when their products grow into a bigger company, then your reputation is going to grow with that company as well. I have like project that I worked on eventually become quite successful, and people know about that project. They kind of search like who designed that project, and then they find me, and then they want to work with me, right? They pay me a lot more money than my original project. So maybe like, let's say if you work with a funded startup, when you think about funded startup, right, why would they be funded? Because these people are backed by the company, by the investors that think this company has potential, right? So when you work on a project that has potential, when they grow into something bigger, then you can grow with them. And usually when a company is funded, right, they will have more money to pay you. So you always want to work with people that have kind of like enough money to pay for the project, and one, you can prosper from that, right? And second, it's like kind of like an investment when you're working with startups, right? It's like an investment. Eventually when something like becomes successful, then you become successful. Exactly the same case as like the company that used to work with MetaLab, right? They work on the project called Slack, and Slack is almost going IPO right now. It's worth like, I don't know, like 13 billion dollars or whatever like that. So like when something get very successful, MetaLab is super successful right now. They're working with like Google, Facebook, and all those big companies, right? So this is the kind of like the perspective, like the goal that you would like to have, like keep working with funded company, profitable company. So the third thing I want to talk about is leverage other people's talents, kind of like related to my first point as well. Like when you're working with other people, right? When you're taking on a project, usually you would not be able to do everything in the project, right? So let's say if the project need a logo design, need some illustration, need UI and UX, maybe I'm the expert in UI and UX and I do not want to step into other people's toe. Like I will just hire other people to work on the illustration part, work on the logo design part, and may be able to do some things, but I mean like that is definitely not as good as like other people that are so focused into doing one thing really well, right? And that's what I will advise a lot of other designers as well. Like you would like to have a niche and focus only on that niche, right? So what happened is like when I take a project, maybe when in the client's call, right, I would just ask them like, hey, do you think that you'll need help with illustration or logo design as well? There are people that are working with me, and we make a very good team, and we usually take projects together. So if you need help with those things, then definitely we can take the project together for you and create something like totally top notch design or whatever, right? So in that case, right, then I usually I cannot duplicate myself, but with other people I can use other people's talent to generate money for me, right? So when I launch a project like that, I'll pay those people here and there, and then I'll again take a cut from all that, right? So me myself, I'm not just making money for myself right now, I'm actually using other skill talents to make money for me at the same time. So that's how you kind of like maximize your gain in a project, right? Use other people's talent to make money for you. So that's another third point. The fourth point is stop charging hourly rate. So this is very toxic, and I have to like make this one like very clear, because I think that charging for hourly rate is definitely not the way to go for freelancer. So imagine right now when you are more experienced, right? Then you charge let's say, I don't know, like $100 per hour, and then you only have 24 hours in a day, right? So your maximum gain is 2,400 dollars per day, but that's it, right? And when you're more experienced in doing something, then you usually do it a lot faster than junior designers, right? Even if the junior designer charge maybe like 40 dollars per hour, you charge 100, but then like you finish it within like 4 times faster than he did, right? So your hourly rate is basically 40. And again, like 20, we all have 24 hours, and I think that when you constantly have to trade your time for money, it's just not the way to go, and I just generally hate doing that. So imagine if you can get a project for $2,400, then you finish it within like 4 hours, right? Because you're very efficient, because you train yourself to be efficient, then your maximum gain is going to be a lot more. You can argue that you can charge your client $300 per hour, but I would say that based on my experience, no client is gonna pay you $300 per hour. If they have that budget, right, they're gonna hire a studio, not a freelancers. So that's what I would like to talk about like hourly rates, and I charge hourly rate for my first year, which is generated around like 100 grand, and then when I change it to project base, it's literally like 250 or 250 in the second and the third year. So it's a lot higher. So stop charging hourly rates. um, and the last one I want to talk about is kind of like you can have it, you cannot have it. So the last one I want to talk about is learn front-end development, because as a UI and UX designer, I think front-end development can help you get more revenue, because right now what I do is when I get a project, I will tell my clients, when the project finish, you're gonna have to have your freelance front-end designer developer to take my design and develop it, and eventually the look and feel is not gonna be the same. I can kind of promise that, because no design developer can develop something exactly as how I design it based on my experience. So if you hire me for the development side of things as well, then I can make sure that everything is pixel perfect, and you have your production product, you have your final product, literally as what you pay the design for, right? Because you pay me so much money, you want to get the same quality of work at the end, right? It's all about the end result. So if you hire me for the development side of things as well, I can guarantee that the result is exactly the same as what you pay for the design side of things. So that's what I would like talk to the clients. Definitely, they're gonna check my code and all that. And most of my clients will hire me for the front end development side of things, and I generate around like 30% of my revenue from my front end development. Yeah, so that's all of kind of like my tips I can share with you guys and potentially help you to generate more revenue for your business. And if you like the tips, if you like what I talk about, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well. And thumbs up is really important because the algorithm, if no thumbs up, nobody's gonna like be able to watch the video. So give it a thumbs up, and then I'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.